What is up, winning team? Hello and welcome back to chapter 12 of our current book series, Beyond the Veil, exploring the bubble theory and the fourth dimension. That's what I get for not reading the title, but potato, tomato. I'm just kidding. It's a beginner's journey into higher dimensions and modern physics, written by Jamil Chamberlain. And we are in chapter 12. Can you guys believe it? If you don't know what we're talking about, we're going to be talking about the dimensions of the universe and the bubble theory. Listen, we already in chapter 12. So if you don't know what's going on and you want to catch up, please go and check out the description box where you'll find the playlist with all the videos of an introduction video and every single other chapter that we've read already. You'll also find a link to purchase the book if you'd like to do so. And you'll find an extra link, which I got from the author, with even more science. If you're a real science freak like I am, and you want to get into the nitty-gritties, you want to get into the details, you want to read between the lines, you want to see the fine print of the theory, head into that link as well to find out more. And as I said, once we finish reading, I have a lot of other things I want to talk about around this whole concept of dimensions, the bubble theory, etc. On that note, let's get straight into chapter 12, which is our philosophical reflections. So, just to have a little bit of a thought of where we finished off, is that where we are? It is, because I did chapter 11 in 2 videos. We finished on quantum connections. We were talking about dark matter and dark energy and how we feel like those, actually, just go and watch the videos. I'm not gonna re-explain what I've already talked about. Let's head straight into it. So, introduction. Imagine you're in a bustling cafe, observing 2 friends engage in a deep conversation. Despite being in the same room, their interactions seem effortless, almost instantaneous, as if they share a secret language. This scenario mirrors the intriguing phenomenon of quantum entanglement, where particles become interconnected in ways that defy our classical understanding of space and time. But what if the key to unraveling this mystery lies beyond our 3-dimensional perception? Enter the bubble theory, a groundbreaking framework that bridges quantum mechanics and higher dimensional interactions, offering a fresh perspective on the enigmatic connections that govern the quantum realm. Okay. I have some thoughts. I don't want to share them just yet because I've been doing a whole recap, deep dive / new learning of all these concepts surrounding space-time, the space-time continuum and all of that because, like I said, guys, I specialize in chemistry, which, can't lie, we wouldn't be able to do this without the chemistry. But the point being, it's so interesting and it's so fascinating, especially because time in and of itself is considered to be a fourth type of dimension in our 3-dimensional, spatial dimension, and time is its own type of dimension, which I find to be quite interesting. And I had to research why that is. We'll talk about why that's relevant later into all of this, because I have a theory. You guys are hearing all my science theories now, if you're a part of this. I've said this in a video before, but I feel like the framework in which I did it, people weren't going to get it. But I've said that I feel like time is a construct. I've come to the conclusion, not only do I believe time is a 3rd-dimensional limitation, let's say. Because I feel like past that, and obviously that's what science is technically saying anyway, if we're technically speaking. But we'll talk about that in another video. Understanding quantum entanglement. The basics of quantum mechanics at the heart of quantum mechanics is my absolute favorite. At the heart of quantum mechanics lies the principle that particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, a concept known as superposition. Unlike classical objects that occupy definite positions and velocities, quantum particles embody probabilities until measured. The probabilistic nature is encapsulated in the wave function, a mathematical description of a particle's quantum state. So, what is quantum entanglement? Quantum entanglement occurs when 2 or more particles become so deeply linked that the state of one instantly influences the state of the other. Oh my gosh, all right, I'm not gonna say what I'm thinking. Oh, yeah. So deeply that one instantly influences the state of the other, regardless of the distance separating them. This phenomenon changes our intuitive understanding of locality, where objects are only directly influenced by their immediate surroundings. Einstein famously referred to entanglement as spooky action at a distance, highlighting its counterintuitive nature. I'll tell you guys what I was thinking, even though I'm going to sound crazy, right? But we're already here now. And if you're this channel, you're probably crazy as well. Yeah, soul ties was the thought that came to my mind with exactly this and how soul ties actually work. Because when I read this statement, quantum entanglement occurs when two or more particles become so deeply linked that the state of one instantly influences the state of the other, regardless of the distance separating them. I believe that was the intention of the Lord when it came to forming sexual interactions. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I've been asking God to give me the scientific understanding of how that works in a scientific and spiritual idea. And that's honestly what I believe it is. Like you become more and more deeply linked, and therefore, because the Bible says a man and woman shall come together and they become one flesh. Obviously, we're still two different entities, technically speaking, in the third dimensional concept. But maybe that's because when he's saying it, he's saying that in another dimension, things look different. I know I sound crazy, but listen, I just keep it real out here, guys. All I do is, and by the way, I know I've got a brown patch on my tongue and it's really bothering me. I am drinking coffee. But yeah, I keep it real here, you guys. Okay, that's what made me think about that. That is exactly what made me think about that. And that is the power, ladies and gentlemen, of relationships and marriage the way that God intended, not the way that this world is doing it. Anyway. Non-locality and instantaneous connections. Entangled particles exhibit correlations that persist even when separated by vast differences. When a measurement is performed on one particle, the corresponding property of its entangled partner is instantly determined, defying the speed of light constraint imposed by relativity. This non-local behavior suggests that entangled particles share a deeper connection that transcends our conversation notions of space and time, hence space and time being the limitations in our own dimension, which is third dimension, the three spatial dimensions plus the time dimension, if you want to look at it like that. So the bubble theory's perspective on quantum entanglement. Higher dimensional interactions. The bubble theory posits that our universe exists as a bubble with the higher dimensional space governed by the S energy field. We know this by now. Within this framework, quantum entanglement is reimagined as an interaction facilitated by these higher dimensions. When particles become entangled, it's not just a entanglement. Isn't that funny? And we'll talk about that, but it's just funny how this, I think the English language is such a perfect tool because it's so good for the art of manipulation, because one word means in one context and what it means in another context can be quite different. And also how what we would call one thing in one scenario and what we call the same thing in another scenario can also be quite different. I'm not going to give examples. I've said enough wild things in this video. When particles become entangled, it's not just a phenomenon occurring within our three-dimensional space, but also involving connections across the fourth spatial dimension. It's giving the spiritual world. Non-locality explained by high dimensions. In the context of the bubble theory, the instantaneous connections observed in entangled particles are a result of their shared S energy signatures. In the fourth dimension, think of it as two friends communicating through a hidden tunnel that bypasses the need to traverse the three-dimensional space between them. This high-dimensional bridge allows for instantaneous information transfer without violating the speed of light constraint in our observable universe. So here's the thing. This is honestly, oh my gosh, I don't know if I should say what I'm thinking. Honestly, I was thinking right now, this is exactly how psychics do what they do on a spiritual level. Like, this is what I'm saying to you. I read the science and I hear the Bible. I read the Bible, I hear the science. And it just makes sense to me. Anyway, this whole, like, the unseen, this concept of the unseen, but something that's clearly having this huge effect that we can't seem to, like, pinpoint, and is defying the laws that we've accepted are the true laws that we actually do technically live by, but there are just these other anomalies that are in there that it's like, but how, but why? You know what I'm saying? Like we were talking about before with the black holes, etc. Unified framework for quantum and gravitational phenomena. By integrating quantum mechanics with higher dimensional interactions, the bubble theory provides a unified framework that reconciles the probabilistic nature of quantum entanglement with the deterministic behavior of gravitational forces. This unification is a significant stride towards a comprehensive understanding of the fundamental forces that shape our universe. Am I reading really fast? I can't tell. Implications of quantum connections in the bubble theory. Revisiting the EPR paradox. Ooh. Sounds good. This sounds interesting. I love when we start throwing around names of scientists because it means it's going to be getting good. The Einstein-Podolsky-Rosen paradox, EPR paradox. I don't think I've ever heard of this before. Challenges the completeness of the quantum mechanics by highlighting the strange implications of entanglement. Oh. The bubble theory offers a resolution by positing that the seemingly instantaneous connections are a result of higher dimensional interactions, maintaining the integrity of both quantum mechanics and relativity. Bear with me, you all. Bear with. Okay, I'm back. I don't even know why I say I'm back. It's literally 1 second for you guys, but I just wanted to make sure that I was fully understanding this concept of quantum entanglement, and there was no point you guys just sitting here while I was just thinking for like some time. Anyway, potential for faster than light communication. Faster than light, which light travels at nearly 300 million meters per second. And again, I don't hate to be the gal, actually. I would love to be the gal to state that all of these just like slight deviations from perfection. So like the fact that the speed of light is like 299 million 900 and something 8,800, whatever it is, right? It's very close to 300 million. Similar to how we have 364 and a quarter days, which is again very close to a perfect circle, which is 360 degrees, points to why I feel like the explanations of a lot of this stuff that goes on, a lot of these phenomena, is because of the spiritual world, which I believe starts in like the fourth dimension. Right? Yeah, I'm going to just say what I have to say here. And I'll tell you why I even say that, right? This is going to sound crazy, but if you're watching all the other videos on my channel, then it's going to make perfect sense. So I've been talking about this cataclysm from 12,400 years ago, which according to the archaeologists is when the end of the last ice age, right? When the meteors from outer space, now notice this again, this concept of outer space, going into the cosmos, cosmology, universes, right? When apparently outer space, these meteors came and melted all this ice, and then the sea rose, I believe, off the top of my head, it was 400 feet, right? Now, that matches perfectly up with the story of the floods of Noah, right? Where there was a rise in the sea level. Why did that happen? Because the angels are procreating with the humans. Why does that matter? And why does it have to do with this? And what does it have to do with all of this put together? Well, what if those creatures were existing in the fourth dimension, had the ability to travel across the different bubbles in the fourth dimension, and were supposed to stay from that position, but then brought themselves to then procreate with us, right? And formed these other creatures, which again, we're known to be, there's all these things that have been built around the world that nobody seems to be able to explain how we built them, because even our modern technology and science and archaeologists and everything cannot explain so many of these pyramids, these catacombs, this, that, and the other. So I'm suggesting the idea that, so after all of that, right, first of all, that's where I think the spiritual, I've got a whole series. Check out my whole Noah's Ark series, because I explain it all in very much detail in that series. But the point I mentioned this is somebody said once upon a time, and they did this as a biblical study, and I'm going to have to recap it now because I keep thinking about it, that the fact of when the water was then refrozen or removed, or the waters, you know, they subsided, as it says in Genesis, when you read about that where they all gathered together to form an ice cube is the reason why the earth doesn't sit on its exact axes, which to me gives rise to why there's these slightly off numbers whenever we come to all these different numbers that we utilize in science, that technically speaking are always seem to be just really close to like a number that would make sense. It would feel better and it would make more logical sense if there was 360 days a year and each month was 30 days. but instead we've got 31, 28, and even that, I feel like, again, is an evidence of us as modern humans who think we are the apex, the most intelligent of all of creation, which that's why I mentioned the cataclysm. The archaeologists don't like to talk about it, because if you address the truth that maybe what the Bible said about the cataclysm 12,400 years ago, which could be the floods of Noah, if you address that that's real, that means that we're not the most intelligent or version of humans that has ever existed, which is what we've based virtually so much of everything on, including the theory of evolution, which, of course, I'm sure you will not be surprised I fundamentally disagree with. Yeah, anyway, just for some foods for thought, because now I'm talking to some scientists as well, you know what I mean? Obviously, so if anybody's here and they're into the science, I feel like I just want to hear your thoughts. You can disagree, but I just want to know your thoughts, you know what I'm saying? But I just thought that was interesting. And the speed of light is just close to 300 million exactly. Interesting. But it isn't, according to our estimations, because all we're doing is estimating on things. And also, why are so many things just off? Perfection. While quantum entanglement appears to allow for instantaneous connections, it doesn't permit faster than light communication in the traditional sense, because the outcome of measurements is inherently random. However, understanding entanglement through the bubble theory could inspire new ways of thinking about information transfer and connectivity across dimensions, potentially unlocking novel communication paradigms. There's actually another deeper level to why this whole concept about moving faster than light even matters, I'd like to just quickly add. And that is, so when I was doing my recapping of this whole concept of space-time and everything. In fact, I even have my notes right here. Let's just go to my notes, right? And so it talked about and it talked about, because I want to talk about the reliance of our sight, the reliance in light for sight for us as humans, as us in our three-dimensional state, right? Because the fact is, we need light to see. And how we perceive light affects what we perceive we've seen, right? Hence why we keep talking about the speed of light, comparing things with the speed of light, because we'll come to that. I'm about to make sense of it in just a moment. Oh, actually, it's at the very first page, I remember. Look how lovely my lovely little notes are written out. I love writing my notes, all my notes. I write all my notes like a proper student, color-coded and everything. And all the equations. Look at this. This is what I'm going to give to my children, by the way. So they have all of this. Okay, so I'm going to go through what he was said here. So basically, according to Einstein's theory of relativity was created for a certain reason, right? Which is essentially that the faster you move through space, the slower you move through time, right? And so the reason why he even started to consider this concept is because he used there was an example I saw a physicist use to explain of if Einstein was to be standing in one spot, or any of us, and you're at the train station, you're on a platform, right? If either side of you, a lightning bolt hits at the exact same distance, you're going to see those two, what is it called? Lightning strikes at the same time, right? Because they're the equal distance apart from you, you're standing in the middle. And so that's how it will happen. If you're a person on the train who goes by at this exact same event, it's not going to look like these two events even took place at the same time. And that's all to do with the speed of light, because we have a reliance on the speed of light to see things in the first place. So depending on where you are at the time, depends on which one you might see first, i.e. if the one that let's say that goes lightning bolt, Einstein, lightning bolt, and you pass just as the second one comes, you might think there was only one lightning bolt, right? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? What am I trying to say with all of this? What I'm trying to say is that our sight is a limitation. And this is why I truly believe in the Bible when it says, trust in the Lord your God with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, nor your ways, acknowledge him and he'll make straight your path. Because our sight is not something we can fundamentally trust in, nor is the facts either. So I tried to think about this similar concept myself the other day when I was out, and I love to watch airplanes. You guys know I'm obsessed with airplanes. So either quantum mechanics or it's airplane engines are my favorite areas of science, right? Airplanes, everything to do with airplanes, I love, right? Airplanes, outer space, quantum, that's my bag, right? So I decided to kind of do what Einstein did, and I was looking at the airplane. And again, from my viewpoint, staring at an airplane in the sky, first of all, it's not moving very fast. But the thing is, I can hear the absolute roar of the jet engine, right? My favorite part of being on an airplane. The roar of the jet engine. I can hear the roar of the jet engine, obviously in a delayed sense because of what? The distance, right? That's me hearing the sound waves of the engine. But when I'm looking at the airplane, it seems to be traveling pretty slowly because of the increased distance I am away from it. The closer I get to it, the quicker I'll see that it's going, which again is relative. Because if I'm traveling on another airplane that's traveling at the same exact speed, right? You can tell I've been revising my, I've been like really looking into all of this. If I'm traveling in another airplane that's going at the exact same speed, right? It's not even going to look like it's moving potentially, right? Because this is what I'm saying about the perception and why our sight or the observable information that we have in the third dimension is just not that trustworthy, in my opinion. And I've kind of always felt that. That's why even when I was like, or similarly to if you're standing at the airport, right? So, and I love to do this, of course, you guys, the airport is one of my favorite places to be. I love being in the airport, like especially like on my own, just plane watching for hours. I purposely arrive for my flights early, like hours early, just so I can go and find a spot and plane watch, right? So if I'm now at the airport versus being here, now I'm actually relatively close to an airport. I'm about a 30-minute drive from an airport, right? So let's just look at that distance between, that's like whatever, I don't know what the distance is exactly, but at the airport, if I'm watching an airplane, all of a sudden that airplane is going really fast. And this is what this whole concept of space-time and why Einstein's theory of relativity obviously came into being so important. But it's also why I think that, yeah, maybe this framework that we have in the third dimension, if we think about it, really doesn't make sense because the senses that we have are also, as stated earlier in the book and introduced in the beginning stages when we're talking about the third spatial dimension, and how, like the example that the author used is, he said, you know, in the beginning, he talked about, the analogy of how in one dimension, the other higher dimension is almost like forms shadows in the other dimension state, of which the example that was used was, and I keep using this example because it's the perfect example. Like if I was to hold up a cube right now and look at the shadow on the wall right now, the shadow is going to be a 2D shape. If you ask somebody what shape is that, pointing to the wall, they'll say that's a square. In reality, I'm holding a cube. And what I'm trying to say here is I kind of look at that same nature of the square and the cube, the 3D to the 2D, the 4D to the 3D, which is what we're saying, dark matter, dark energy, almost being like the shadow, not even a shadow because we can't even really tell, but the shadows of things that we can experience are a result of something else that just doesn't exist in our way of understanding. And I'm saying all of this to say that whether you believe in the fourth dimensional concepts or you believe in the spiritual concepts, which I believe are one and the same, either way, the proof is in the pudding that if you think about it logically, like with your own brain, with your own critical thinking, which I appreciate is not taught in schools anymore, and you're actually taught to do the opposite, I say that as a teacher, then you'll notice that our perception and trusting in our own senses is one of the most unwise things you can do as a scientist. Trusting in, if I can't fully see and understand something, then it definitely doesn't exist. As I like to say, just because you can't prove something is real, and if you can't prove it's not real, you can't say it isn't. If you can't prove it's not real, you can't tell me that it isn't real. Yes. Sorry. English is not my forte. Okay, so let's wrap this up because this is actually now the longest of all these videos that I've done. So I'm definitely going to separate this into sections. I didn't expect to go this long. I should have known as soon as the word philosophical came into the picture that this was going to go off the ledge. But you guys get where I'm coming from. Actually, I'll do the last bit as part of the next video. So yeah, just a few key thoughts, I guess, here in terms of how, again, why are we looking at these theories? Why are they considered, also let's not forget these things are all considered theories, the reliance on light in the third dimension and time as well. Those are two things I don't believe are limitations in the other dimensions, and hence why those things that literally govern so much of our lives, light being a huge governance, how we see things, the reflection, and all of this. And then time, which is literally what we all experience. You've all been here if you're still here for 25 minutes nearly now. So there was a time A and now there's a time B. That's proof that time exists, right? Because there's been a change of something. It's all very interesting. Anyways, you guys, I'm going to leave that there. Like I said, if you want to check out the rest of this, go to the description box below. I've got the playlist. If you want to purchase the book, it's really cheap. You can purchase it on Amazon. The link is in the description box as well. And if you want to delve deeper and hear from a real physicist, more details about all these concepts, check out the third link. And of course, as I said, once we've got through all the book, which we've only got 2 chapters left, I have so many thoughts and other things. As you can see, my brain is already just going crazy with thoughts based on this in all different areas of a lot of things. So buckle up and stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to everybody if you've subscribed as well. Because if life's a game, it's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.